not, you might have learned to make jewelry where it slips apart and together so you can like put your necklace on. And then, so this one, the way you would do this is, there's my bite of the rope. I just tap the foot loop.
I'll fiddle with the gate.
What?
Fiddle with the gate.
What does that mean?
Just mess with it, because that loosens it and tightens it.
Oh, I see.
Cool, so that's two.
That's what he calls it.
One more pass will make three, and that will be an official prusik. Nice. Well dressed, as they call it. Your lead prusik onto the line here. Anywhere you want, it will move. Other end. Do with our last sling is we're going to be attaching it to our foot prusik on the non-knotted side, so the piece of, it doesn't really matter, but sometimes the knot gets in the way, so we use the non-knotted side so it just never is an issue. With a girth hitch. So the girth hitch was similar to the prusik except for it's just one. It doesn't need to be a friction hitch, it can move around, but what this is going to do is this piece and this piece are going to attach to your harness. These are going to be your 2 points of safety. So you're attached to this 2 ways so that if some weird reason this failed, then you have this one as a backup. Right, so then with our other sling, you're attaching that to the non-knotted side with a girth hitch. Just this one time through. Is you take the bite of rope, so it's not crossed, it's not, that's got another name, a loop. You take a bite, you fold it down and smush it so it looks like little rabbit ears, and then you keep smushing it so that it makes that girth hitch right there. So once again, so it's a bite, fold it down, rabbit ears, fold again, it makes that right.
Hey, facade.
And you can just hook it right through, slide it to the pull it kind of tight. So if this is prone to sliding around if it was just looped in there, but the girth hitch makes it a little bit more friction so it stays in that nice little compartment and doesn't go wild. So you can do the same thing with your lead prusik, is to tie a girth hitch onto a carabiner. Great. So now to attach these to your harness, Sunshine's harness has this one hard point where everything's going to attach. It doesn't really matter like how you attach them on this one. You just attach it on, screw the gate shut. However, these other harnesses, it does matter. And the trick is you want to take the carabiner and you want to like pirate hook your belly button and come this way so that when you're screwing down, it's screwing down so you don't screw up. And it also doesn't face your belly so it doesn't come close. And you turn around so everyone can kind of see. This harness has this hard point for you to attach everything to if you want to. If you don't trust that hard point, you can also come through both that and that part, and that is more bomber proof than the other way. And then you can screw the gate down. Similar. Screw the gate down. Great. So now we're ready to climb. So every time you climb, run through the ABCs. Even if you've done this a billion times, always run through the ABCs. Just checking all the things in your head. So what was A?
Anchor.
Anchor. What was B? Belt and buckles. So check your buckle. This feels a little loose to me. I would tighten that. If you were to flip upside down and your belt was really loose, theoretically you could come out your harness pretty easy. C was
Carabiner.
carabiners, and you want to check that the gates are closed. So it's nice to have a buddy just check, make sure your gates are closed, make sure they're screwed down so you don't screw up. Remember, when we close the gate, we always want to come back just a tiny bit so it doesn't cinch up on us with weight. D was descending devices, so we want to make sure we have one. And I'll get into just how we use that in a second. E is end of the rope. We want to make sure that's on the ground and right near the ground. I tied this one just barely on the ground. I tried to do the same with this actually, because then they don't get stepped on as much. F.
Friends.
Friends. G. Gear. Other gear you might need. One thing I didn't mention is if I'm going up for a while, I always bring a water bottle. Just get up there and you don't have water. Man, I wish I had water. Great thing about climbing a lower axis is you can just pass your things because it's not that high up. Fire escape. And then H is your hair, right? What'd you say?
Hair and hanging.
Hanging things, yeah, great. Yeah, watch your hanging things. All right, so we're gonna climb. Sunshine's gonna demo. So what Sunshine's gonna first do is move this lead pressing as high as possible. And one thing another person can do is they can pull down. This rope, I think, is dynamic, so it stretches a little bit, whereas the other one's static level. Until Sunshine's able to weight her harness so that she can sit, and all her weight's on this, she's hanging out like that. She's gonna find her foot loop. She's gonna pick whichever foot she wants, put her foot in the foot loop. The wall is sometimes you can just start by climbing on the wall. You're going to move the pressing of your foot loop up. The better you get, the higher you can go with this, but you want to have a bit of a bend in your knee, and your knee should bend up towards your face. So if you're feeling like you can't move this knot, it's because you're pushing down with this foot usually and not bending your knee where it needs to go. And now what the climbing dance looks like is Sunshine's gonna stand up on that one leg, so extend her knee and climb with her hands all the way up. And ideally, hang, and after you've done that, you can sit back down. So you've moved your lead pressing up, so you've moved up, she moves that lead knot up, and then sits down and relaxes. So in between each of these little sets, you can take as much of a break as you want. And you just keep going up and up and up as high as you would like to. I'm gonna make you come down not too much higher than that. So a little bit bigger steps in between your climb, things like that. If for some reason your foot comes out of your foot loop and you're hanging out, it doesn't matter. Your line is still attached to you, that one is still attached to you. You just put this back on your foot. Does that make sense? I'm going to just go over how to descend with you before you go up because it's easier to show on the ground. When you put your descending device on, you want to put it on below both of the other devices. So we'll just move these up out of the way. And before we unclip it, this is the part where we don't want to drop our descending device. What we're going to do is we're going to take the end of the line that's below these two. We're going to make a bite out of that. We're going to pass it through the big part over the little part and then pull it tight like that. Perfect. You can do it any way you want. From either way, doesn't matter. Now that it's on the rope, you can unclip it from the carabiner. It's on the rope. Yay, it doesn't drop to the ground. Okay. A hard point on our harness. So all of these loops around here are made to hold like water bottles and gear, but they're not meant to hold weight. If you clip onto this, this will just rip right off if you fell on it. So the only hard points are in the front. And if you put this one in the same spot that all the rest of this is, it's going to be a big mess. So this is where we are going to use this little loop. So you're going to clip that into there. And now this is where it's really important you know which side to put on. So if you put this back the same way it was with the big end, which is not correct, what could happen is you're descending and all of a sudden this slips off and comes through. So if you can pull the rope off of the descent, off the bait, you have it backwards. So instead, if we clip this end on, now even if this, I tried to make this come through, there's no way the rope can come off. Does that make sense? So you can always test it in your head, like, can I get the rope off of this? No, it's like stuck in there. Okay, descending.
Nobody knows what it
And
is.
when you're descending, we'll just pretend you're left-handed for that, or wanting to for that. Pull the rope away from the side of you, then you'll start slipping down. If you move it back here, it should break, and you should slow down and come to a slow stop, or just slowly going. So trying to remember that the friction, the more behind you you get, the more your body is wrapping as an extra friction point, the slower you can go. And so you never want to grab a knot like this. You always want to go from below it or above it some way, so you're not, don't have the tendency to accidentally grab the knot in times of dire need. Because you can theoretically make the knot not catch, and then you can also burn your hand with rope friction all the way down. Alright, so go ahead and move this knot even higher. I'm going to pull down. Keep going. And this time jump and move it up. Yeah. Okay, now sit in your harness. And one thing that's awkward is you might swing around. You can use your feet and your hands to push off the tree trunk. And you can choose whichever foot you want. Go in there. Great. And now you're going to move this one up. And one thing, oh, this is another trick, is you want to pull down on the end of the line with one hand while pushing up with the other, and bend your knees so your foot doesn't. There you go. That's how you go. And now try to stand up.
As soon as possible.
You got it. And as you're standing up, reach higher so that you can hang from your skeleton, and then you have more time to move that knee down. And then fall back down, and then you got it. You can let go. Fall down. There you go. And now you can move this one up.
I wish I'd take you over there because I don't know the code to get here. I'll be right back.
I really wanted to descend with my using my foot loop because I didn't like the other way, but now I'm having a hard time remembering.
You don't need it anymore. You have three. You have not that one. The foot loop carabiner. Great. And so now attach the carabiner to